In this episode of our Lewis and Clark trip, we're exploring Cincinnati, a town where Meriwether Lewis spent a whole week resting his men and taking on provisions. And there's not a whole lot more to say about that. We're going to explore Jungle Jim's International Market. We're going to make a day trip to the Ark on the Kentucky side, the largest freestanding timber frame structure in the world. There will be a great meetup. And then Big Bone Lick State Historic Site, another place Meriwether Lewis visited in order to see the recently excavated mastodon bones. Very interesting. Then we'll go back to downtown for another taste of Cincinnati. All that and more coming up next.
I'm riding in my RV. Wherever I want to be, 'cause I'm free in my RV, yeah.
Morning. We're going to Cincinnati, but first, I'm a fan of geographical oddities and whatnot, or just geographical places. We're going to the westernmost point of West Virginia, which is actually the confluence and the point where West Virginia meets Kentucky and Ohio. So it's the Tri-State there. And then we're going to Cincinnati. And hopefully I didn't forget anything, so let's go. Well, this is called Virginia Point Park, and it is the westernmost point in West Virginia. So that's why I wanted to come here. It is also the confluence of the Big Sandy River and the Ohio. There's a campground over there. There's tent camping. And that would be Kentucky, and then on the other side we're gonna see Ohio, and this is West Virginia. Actually, there's a pretty remote place near a town called Cyrus, south of here, which is actually farther west. So no, this is technically not the westernmost point, but I think it is close enough, and much more interesting. So yeah, to recap, where we're standing is West Virginia. That over there is Kentucky, and that is Ohio. How cool is that? I did not know there was a campground here. Maybe next time we'll stay here. Okay, off we go. Got some people camping there in a tent. And the place overall feels a little run down. The campground seems nice, but the park itself. And I was gonna fly the drone, but there's an airport nearby, and I didn't feel like asking for, for authorization. So we'll do it some other time. Would have been a good flight, though. And let's cruise through town again because.
Point Park toward 23rd Street.
Because I do believe the GoPro on the roof crashed at some point. Fun fact, for the GoPro on the roof to be reliable, you have to remove the battery if you're gonna use it on external power. And I forgot to remove the battery. But we're all good now. Now it's 3 hours to Winton Woods. I'm sure we'll stop once along the way. Nova is the name of the town. There's a historic pharmacy, it says since 1892, Griffith and Field. Well, this place right here, the drugstore, I had a star in my map for it. I just don't know why, or it's.
Continue on West Virginia 75 East for half a mile.
I'm sure at some point someone recommended it. It's a historic drugstore. We might come back one of these days. But right now, as you saw, there was no parking. If we stay at that campground at the Virginia Point there one of these days, I would love to stay there at the confluence. In that case, we'll visit the drugstore. But for now, let's continue towards Cincinnati. we're back on the beautiful rolling hills of Kentucky. So green, especially this time of the year, in late May. Check it out, I think that's where they age the bourbon. You see those barns painted black all over bourbon country here in Kentucky. There it is, Cincinnati, Ohio. I must say, pretty good looking skyline. This episode is sponsored by Omaze, this time giving you the chance to win your very own tiny home valued at $130,000, all while supporting the National Parks Foundation. Omaze launched with a mission to transform typical charitable giving. They give people the chance to dream big and win one-in-a-lifetime prizes, all while helping nonprofits make the world a better place. Now, let me tell you about this custom tiny home valued at $130,000. First, you get to design the dwelling of your dreams with Trueform Tiny, so you can dream big and maybe do it tiny. Maybe you want to escape from the city to that lakeside fishing hideaway or that chic desert oasis perfect for stargazing. Actually, that's what I would do. But maybe you want your own backyard home office or dream Airbnb. With a budget of $130,000, Trueform Tiny will help you design your dream tiny home and turn it into a living, ready reality. And by entering, you will help support the National Park Foundation. And I love our national parks. The National Park Foundation works to protect wildlife and parklands, preserve history and culture, educate and engage youth, and connect people everywhere to the wonder of the parks. Enter at omaze.com/travelingrobert for your chance to win a $130,000 custom tiny home from Trueform Tiny and support a great cause, the National Parks Foundation. There's a link in the video description. Well, we've made it to Winton Woods Campground here in Cincinnati, and this place brings back memories. I mean, when I arrived, it was like deja vu. Because this was, I believe, the third place we ever camped. That first trip with the Class C. And look us here. Casita RV Life is here, so we're gonna be doing some exploring together. There's Casita RV Life, and I'm gonna get set up and we'll start touring the city. Okay, I remember these faucets from the first time I came here. And I couldn't figure it out. If you try to do this, you get, like a regular faucet, like water to wash or whatnot. If you want it to come out through your garden hose, through your RV hose, you have to pull down on this thing. It was actually a fellow camper that helped me out to figure it out. For the life of me, I would still be here. This was back in 2011. In any case, it seems to be an Ohio thing. I haven't seen that approach anywhere else. And that's how it works. Many people have recommended we go see Jungle Jim's International Market. It is supposed to be one of the main attractions, so let's see what all the fuss is about.
We're here with Casita RV Live, our friend Greg, and this is the famous Jungle Jim's International Market. Let's see what it's all about.
Well, they do have beer samples, so that's a good start.
We're getting IPA samples.
The wine selection is pretty massive. Wine from all over the United States and the world.
Okay, here's the test. Let's see if they have Vino Seco. If they have Vino Seco, they pass the test. Well, they pass the test. They have it.
It is one of those places where it feels like if you can't find it here, it probably doesn't exist, or it's illegal or something. It is pretty overwhelming, although not exactly what I was expecting, but to be honest, I didn't know what to expect. Now, a viewer from Cincinnati has been texting me to invite me to a brewery, so that's where we're going next. They are supposed to have really good pizza. Here we are. It's called Madtree Brewing. Let me tell you, this place is happening. It was even difficult to find parking.
It's pretty cool. Now let's wait for Andy.
Yep, this place is packed, and it's only Wednesday. Anyway, good pizza, good beer,
Cheers.
and good company.
Cheers. Cheers. Well, good morning. I think this is perfect weather to visit the Ark, don't you think? No, I must be getting ready.
It's about an hour drive from Winton Woods, north of Cincinnati, to the Ark in Kentucky. I've heard about it many times, even seen videos, but I don't really know what to expect. Our friend Jim from Ohio was able to get us complimentary tickets, so here we are.
There it is.
In order to make it to the structure, you have to take a shuttle, so let's do that. And there's a lot of people here. It seems to be a very popular attraction.
Don't think you can get a whole lot.
Yeah, it's down everywhere.
There's a...
There you go.
Oh, which way do we go? Very tropical with all the palm trees.
Enter through the gift shop. This replica of Noah's Ark was, according to the website, built to the dimensions given in the Bible, spanning 510 feet long, 85 feet wide, and 51 feet high, at a reported cost of $91 million.
Hello?
We're all inside.
And the whole park seems to be very Old Testament focused, about the creation, and many other biblical stories, including Noah's incredible feat. They also have a zoo and several other attractions, some of them unfortunately closed due to inclement weather. They have many displays retelling biblical stories, most quite literal in their interpretation of the ancient scriptures. It is definitely massive. Cool, they have a VR experience. That's gotta be pretty cool. Let's step inside. Everything is beautifully landscaped, and it feels very much, dare I say, Disney-esque in its execution.
Now we have all the switchbacks to go all the way up to the arch. To the arch, not the Ark. Hello? I think they were expecting a lot more people.
This first section is row after row of cages. with pretty good sound effects, and it is dark. I guess to mimic the lighting conditions, and I think it helps sell the illusion, if not great for photography. Oh cool, animatronics. Let's get closer. You can tell they spared no expense.
Let me see.
It's just a mirror.
The Ark must have been a tremendous work of engineering, huh?
But fitting the animals on the ark was actually not too difficult. You see, God knew just how big the ark would need to be. Thankfully, God didn't send the largest of each kind. Well, it really wasn't hard to find the animals, since God brought them right to me, just as He said He would.
All the animatronics and dioramas are actually very well made. Apparently, Noah was a jack of all trades. This would be very close to the exact center of the ship, where you would want to be during rough seas. Makes you appreciate the sheer size of the building. Although I do see modern bolts and screws keeping everything together, so it makes me question how biblically accurate the construction really is. Let me guess, OSHA? Let's check out the living quarters. Let me tell you, everything looks very nice. It is almost like a cruise ship. It does not look like these people were roughing it at all. Keeps going on, and it is almost too much. All the arcs from all the different Earth religions, but this one looks to me like the Bohr cube.
That was very interesting, not exactly what I was expecting, but here we are, exiting through the gift shop by the bow of the Ark. Aren't you glad we have an Ark right next to us?
Well, we're starving, so we're going to Mzara's kitchen. And yes, most places in the park will have some kind of biblically inspired name. They have all these animals here as you enter. It is buffet style, and it is actually very good. I presume the Amish are somehow involved. And it keeps on raining non-stop. And all I can say is, how appropriate.
It is certainly impressive. And check it out, they have camel rides, Ararat Ridge and Zoo petting area.
The zoo seems very nice. They have lots of animals, but I'm sure it would be better with nicer weather.
Hello, fellas.
I guess that's how they sit down.
Yeah. You want a pan for gold? Oh no, pan for fossils.
Yeah.
They do have a zip line as well, but I believe it was closed due to weather too. So. Well, we just did the virtual reality tour, the Truth Traveler, which takes you back in time into the Noah's time, and all of a sudden it's sunny. So I don't know. Will we come back to the same day, same time? We'll find out. Yep, May 26th. I stand corrected. The zip line is open, but we're gonna do that one another time. And you get to exit through the rainbow. How perfect is that?
The day wasn't so perfect after all. On the way back, something that had never happened to me. I hydroplaned, lost control, and unfortunately hit these folks from Nebraska. Luckily, everybody emerged unscathed from the incident. That was a lucky break. Now off to Cincinnati for our meetup.
How's it going? I'm Mike from Rebel Metal Brewery, and welcome to our establishment. So the Rebel Metal Brewery started life as the Cincinnati Time Star parking garage built in 1925. Remained a parking garage, to my understanding, in the mid-1980s. Then it turned into a production studio up until 2015, and it sat vacant from 2015 to 2019, and that's when we got a hold of it. Right here is our veterans wall. I spent 12 years active duty military, so anybody that comes in that served, I offer them to become part of the brewery, and we go from there. If you'll follow me this way, I'll take us back to the brew house.
Unfortunately, by the time you watch this, Rebel Metal no longer exists, which is sad because they were really welcoming and accommodating to our event. And really good beer too.
Hey, here we are at the 2022, I was gonna say Cincinnati. Yeah, Cincinnati Meetup, I don't even know where I am. Where are you from?
UK, Wales.
I'm sure a good time was had by all, and I want to thank Jim and Barb for putting everything together and for the great camera work. It was also great to see Corey and Christy, the traveling Buckeyes, once again.
We'll just selfie it. There you go. Everybody say hello. See you on the road.
See you on the road.
And our official photographer.
I can't emphasize enough how great it is to meet fellow travelers from all over the country and the world as well. This time we had visitors from the UK. They were on a road trip across America. Some drove almost 4 hours from West Virginia. A young couple on a road trip from Texas made a detour from Indiana to attend the meetup. Hearing your stories and getting to meet you in person is, in part, the fuel that keeps me going.
Closed them down.
Here we go. Meriwether Lewis was definitely here. Yeah, and apparently Clark came back in 1807 and they started digging for bones.
Meriwether Lewis wrote of his visit here in late September 1803 in a letter to Jefferson. Earlier that year, Dr. William Goforth had discovered some mammoth bones, and Jefferson wanted Lewis to visit the site and send back a report, which he did, describing a tusk of immense size, along with some other specimens of bones. When William Clark came here to dig in 1807, it established Big Bone Lick as the birthplace of American vertebrate paleontology.
Well, let's do the half-mile trail here at the back of the visitor center. Although there is a longer Big Bone Creek trail, 0.9 miles. We might do that one. It is a nice morning for a short little hike, and it's like probably in the high 50s, 60 degrees. I wish it was a little sunnier, but it's not bad. And this is okay. Here it is. Big Bone Creek Trail, 1 mile. Help preserve the park's resources. Please leave archaeological and fossil remains undisturbed. Will do.
Lewis reported on his visit to Big Bone Lick, Kentucky, some 20 miles southwest of Cincinnati. Earlier in the year,
I haven't seen one bone yet out here, so hopefully we will.
What is this? Oh, this would be Big Bone Creek, I suppose. Let's continue on this narrow trail here, which I don't know if this is the best idea. It's been raining every day, so it is a little muddy, and don't tell anybody, but I once again forgot my hiking shoes. It is beautiful out here.
I think this is as far as I want to go. It's very muddy. You can tell nobody has come through here quite a while. Let me come down to the river and that's it. I don't know, it's kind of slippery. Alright, let's get back to the main trail. I think we've had enough fun on this muddy trail for today. And we're back on the main trail. Yeah, let me show you. I believe this muddy trail we were on is this right here, and there may be a shortcut on the other side to this, to the salt spring, and there's another salt spring up here, so let's do it. Oh, this is it?
Not the most attractive spring, if you ask me, but in its heyday, it was a major tourist destination because of its presumed medicinal qualities. Let's go back down to the creek on another one of these narrow trails. Just listening to the sounds of nature.
Tell you what, I'm gonna start heading back on this trail. It doesn't look like a whole bunch of people have been here lately. I mean, the vegetation growth is it's pretty big. So there are still bones hidden in the swamp. This is the most disoriented I've been in a long time, but I think we're getting back to the visitor center now on this boardwalk here.
Look at that. There you go, it says it right there. Lewis was here on his way to pick up Clark.
Very, very interesting. So this is the birthplace of North American vertebrate paleontology. No, the trail is flooded, and I didn't bring the appropriate footwear, so I'm just gonna have to go back. I mean, I don't know how deep it is, but yeah, I'm definitely not gonna be able to pass that with these shoes without getting my feet wet. So let's go back the way we came. It's just flooded, but this is another one of those salt springs. Look at that. And now my toes are wet because I forgot to bring my hiking shoes. Oh, came back, got a hat, more water, my hiking shoes, and now let's go see if we can see some bison.
It is supposed to be only 0.2 miles to see the bison. There we go, only 100 yards left.
Wait. Viewing bison may be limited during April and May, during after birth of calves. Bison may isolate in the privacy of shelter woodlots. No, timing, eh? Timing is everything. There they are. Way out there. I'm glad I've got that zoom lens. I mean, we're gonna go all the way around, see if we see more, but at least we saw from far away. It's not a very long trail.
I think that dog's knocking, and now it doesn't know how to come back out.
Hello. I think this is over there, as close as we're gonna get.
We're going back to Cincinnati and we're gonna have lunch and let's see what else we can see. Man, that's a good looking skyline. Before exploring downtown, we're actually going back to Kentucky, to this restaurant that used to be across the river from Louisville, actually. We went there once, and now they moved here. It is supposed to have some of the best views of Cincinnati. Yes, it is the Buckhead Mountain Grill.
Local IPA with the view.
That's probably a very nice river cruise. Some people had told me at the meetup, and the bartender reminded me that this week they are having the Taste of Cincinnati event in downtown, for the first time since 2019. That's part of the reason why the restaurant was so empty. So even though I already ate at the Buckhead Mountain Grill, I might park and walk around a little bit, if anything, for the experience. But first, let's see if we can find some views, starting with Mount Adams. Okay, not much of a view from here, so let's continue. Okay, this looks promising. Let's stop real quick. Not bad, but not the commanding view of the city I'm looking for. It looks like I interrupted a wedding photo shoot in progress. Oh, let's turn right here. We may be onto something here. Let's park real quick. And there it is. I think this is as good as it is going to get. Let's go down and join the festivities. I was able to park a couple of blocks away, and now let's go see what all the fuss is about. And it is here, among the crowds of Cincinnatians, that we're going to say goodbye to the Queen City and the great Buckeye State as we continue down the Ohio River on our way to the very spot where Lewis met Clark, right across the river from Louisville, at the Falls of the Ohio in Clarksville, Indiana. But more about that on the next episode. Until then, thank you so much for watching, and see you on the road. I'm riding in my